I just thought I'll just share with you a few things. I just finished my class and just cooking my lunch as I record this. Okay, so what I wanted to talk today was about how many of you remember what all you had experienced in your childhood? Like some of us, do you remember your first day of school? How many of you remember your first day of school? I'm 44 years old, and you know what the funny thing is? I remember my first day of school. Isn't that weird? I think I was 4 years old because those days, no, there was no playgroup and all. We straight used to go to nursery. So I remember my first day of school. And I just thought, why not share that with everybody? So I don't know what is the full form of the name of the school, but the school I studied in as a baby, as a child, that time used to be called as KK school. Weird, no? My name is also Kankanakar. Now it's like, oh my God, how did my parents select such a perfect school for me? Anyways, so the name of the school was KK school. And where was this? So I spent my entire childhood in Aizawl, Mizoram. Okay, I'm from Mizoram. I'm a Bengali. I speak Bangla, but from Mizoram. So it's like a complete mix. Okay, and yeah, my entire childhood was in the hills, and it was beautiful childhood. Maybe I'll tell you stories from my childhood which it seems like a movie to me now, because the kind of world that we live in, the kind of life my son spends nowadays, it's completely different from how it used to be when we were kids. So sometimes I tell him stories from my childhood, and he thinks they are made up stories, you know. They're not made up stories. Okay, I think I'm deviating from the topic. So yes, my first day of school. So I remember, you know, my mother took me and my elder sister. We were only two of us that time because my younger sister wasn't yet born. Because my younger sister was born when I was 6 years old. So, okay. So now what happened? My mother had taken both of us, my elder sister and me, to school. Okay, to this particular school. And I remember I didn't like going to school. In the sense, I know that was my first day, but it was a horror in my system. I didn't like the idea of going somewhere, sitting and studying for hours together. And my mom takes me to this school. So obviously, like you know, Aizawl is a hilly place. This particular school was down a hill. Okay, so we had to, the hill was cut in such a way, and this school was made in such a place that we need to walk down the stairs through the hill. In the sense, it was a hill which was cut into staircases. Sorry, this onions now. Was cut into staircases, and then we go down. So we went down with my mom, and then the school bell rings. I think the horror of everybody's life, especially for the children who are going to school for the first time. So and then so my teacher came, and I think her name was Miss Lucy, if I'm not wrong. So Miss Lucy came, and she took all of us, all the children in my class, nursery, okay, to the classroom. And I had already started yelling my heart out, okay? Like I was shouting and screaming, no, I don't want to go to the class. I didn't want to leave my mom. I didn't want to leave her. And there she was, like, no, it's only a matter of 3 hours. It was a matter of 3 hours, 9 o'clock. Mostly it was from 9 o'clock. Then class ends at about 12 o'clock. Okay, so I was waiting there, and oh yeah, my teacher came and took us in. And all of us were sitting there inside the class. And I clearly remember it was a beautiful classroom, okay, with lots of pictures, chart papers, which were drawn. My teachers would have done, wonderful drawings and art and thing and stuck them up. Anyways, and each and every child in my class was crying. Each and every child. So I remember I sat with a little boy and a little girl, and the rest of the class were of course crying, and three of us were crying in a rhythm, like it was a competition, who can yell the most. At that time I didn't think in this perspective, but right now, when I'm so old, I'm sitting and I'm thinking, just imagine that mental state of the teacher. All the children in her class are crying. And the most scariest part, which for me was, my teacher took all of us inside, okay? My sister must be having some horrible story in her class, because she was one class older to me. One class bigger than me, because she was 1 year older to me. Now, so we were all crying. And what did the teacher do? You know what made me cry even more? The moment all of us got inside, she shut the door of the class. So that was even more scary. I can't see my mom. And where was my mother sitting? Such a beautiful place, I tell you, okay? So there was this beautiful pond. There was a play area. So we come down the stairs, like I said, no, we were supposed to get into the school. So even before we get into the classrooms, there was an open area, okay? I clearly have that vision in my eyes, because if I was an artist, I would have drawn it. It's so beautiful. So there was this huge pond next to the play area, and the side, and by the way, inside the pond there were orange, black and white fishes. Some of them even were mix of orange, black and white, tiny ones. They were all swimming around, okay? And there was beautiful grapevine on top of this pond, where actually grapes were hanging. Can you believe it? Grapes were hanging, and they were like real grapes. They were not like drama grapes, like showcases. No, they were real grapes. By the way, who cares about the beauty, isn't it? Like, there's a horror scene going inside my mind right now, isn't it? So that was the thing. Anyways, so where was my mom sitting? Next to the fish pond, there was this beautiful concrete sitting area, which was made for all the parents. So all the parents were sitting there and waiting for the children to come back from the class. All right, I have to pause the video a little bit because I'm going to grind. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, so I'm back. All right, so where was I? Yes, where my mother was sitting, right? Yes, so she was sitting in this place which was next to this fish pond. The concrete area, just like I explained, she was sitting there and waiting for me. Not only for me, for my sister also. And now what was happening inside the class, okay? Because I know what's happening inside the class. So all the children, all of us were crying in a rhythm, like there's a competition. And has it ever happened to you that you're so nervous, you're so anxious, you are so sad and crying that you want to go to the washroom? So that had happened to me. I urgently needed to go to the washroom. Now, my reason from crying had changed from I cannot see my mother to I need to go to washroom. And I don't remember, but I did not know how to talk in English. I was 4 years old. Maybe my mother had taught me some basics. Maybe she would have taught me. But when now is the time to apply and ask my teacher, ma'am, can I go to washroom? I didn't do anything. I just sat there and kept crying and crying and crying. I just know one thing, that the reason has switched from I want to see my mother to I want to go to washroom. And I started yelling my whole heart out. Crying, crying, crying. That pain, I can actually feel that, because I was the one who was feeling that pain in the heart, literally. So, and because now the reason had changed, I was literally shouting, telling my teacher that I want to go to washroom. But in which language? Not in English. I was shouting in Bangla, because my mother tongue is Bangla. And I was shouting hagu, hagu, in the sense, in Bangla that means I want to go to washroom. To be honest, to poop. Okay? So, and then I was shouting so loudly. Sorry. Okay? So I was shouting. I had to go to washroom. And to my, thankfulness, my teacher thought there's something, uncommon about this girl who is screaming at the top of her voice, shouting hagu, hagu. My teacher was a Mizo lady. She didn't know what is hagu. And then she came to me and she asked what happened. She asked in English only. I wouldn't have understood, I'm sure. This will go again, I guess. Wrong time to make a video, but I'm so desperate to tell you the story. However, she caught hold of my arm and she took me out. To my happiness, my mother was sitting there, and then we were, that was an amazing reunion with my mom. And my mom, the moment I reached there, I told her, I want to go to the washroom right now. And then she dragged me by the hand. Now, if you ask me, where did she take me? She took me to the washroom, but which direction and all, I don't remember now. But this particular scenario from my first day of the school, the most memorable day of my entire school life, I remember so clearly. This hasn't whistled yet, which is good for us. My story has ended. That was a happy ending, by the way. Sorry for this, but this is how my life is. So anyways, so that's the end of the story. Happy ending. I go to the washroom. After that, what I do, I don't remember. After that, do I go back to the class, sit in my chair, was happy girl in the class? I don't remember anything. This was the only part I remember. And that's why I thought I should share it with you. That's it for now. Maybe I'll share some more wonderful stories from my childhood. Mine was a country childhood, by the way. So I can share more some other time. Thank you for listening.